everyone, welcome to Lilthings. This is a reminder that you're such an amazing person and you'll succeed in everything you put your heart into. So today we're going to be making this two really cute ghosts, and it's perfect for Halloween and it's super beginner friendly, so if you're a beginner crocheter or just started crocheting, this is perfect for you. So without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. Whee! I'll be using 5 ply milk cotton yarn with the color white, black, and purple, a 3mm hook, 2 darning needles, scissors, 3.5mm eyes, stitch marker, glue. First, we'll be making the ghost body, and I'll be using a white color yarn. So to start off, we're going to be making a magic ring first. So to make a magic ring, first I'm going to hold my yarn on my right hand, and on my left hand I'm pointing up 2 fingers, and then I'm going to use this yarn and wrap around my 2 fingers twice. So I'm going to place my yarn on top of my 2 fingers and then go under the 2 fingers and then place on top of 2 fingers again. And then you'll have a parallel line on the top, and then for the bottom, and if you pull it, it's gonna go smaller, and we want it to be around this size. And the way I'm holding my yarn, I'm just wrapping my yarn around my 3 fingers on my left hand, and I just go up again, and then I'm gonna go behind my index finger. And then for my ring finger and pinky, I'm just gonna hold it in like this. And then middle finger and thumb, I'm gonna hold my piece. And then for my index finger, it's always pointed up. So I basically hold my yarn like this. And for my hook, I just hold it like how I'm holding a pen. Sometimes I like to use my middle finger to hold onto the loops on our hook, so it will kind of like adjust it and prevent it from sliding back and forth on our hook. So after making the magic ring, we're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic ring. I like my stitches to be yarn under instead of yarn over like normal single crochet, because I just find yarn under stitches to be a little bit tighter. I just like how neat they look. The pattern itself, it's the same, it's just how you do the stitches, but it's completely fine if you do yarn over. So let's do our first single crochet. So first, we're going to insert our hook into the magic ring. So just insert to the circle. The tail is also caught on my hook as well. And then if you want to do normal single crochet, you just yarn over like this. You go behind the working yarn and then grab it from above like this. But I like to do yarn under, which is how you do the tighter stitches. So I just go in front of the working yarn and then go on top and then grab my working yarn like this. And then I just pull it through the magic ring, and then that would bring up a loop. So we're gonna yarn over, we're gonna bring our hook to the back of our yarn, it's like this, and then we're gonna pull it through these 2 loops. So after making the first single crochet, as you can see, if you look at your stitch from the top, there is a V on the top here. That is where we're going to insert our stitch marker into. So we just go through the V. I'm gonna lock it, and this would mark where the round starts, and this is the first stitch, so we don't lose track. And I'm just gonna place my hook back into the loop and then just pull it and adjust the size of the loop. And now we're gonna make our second single crochet. So again, insert our hook into the magic ring. So insert it, and then we're gonna yarn under, so bring our hook in front, and then on the top grab the working yarn and then pull it through the magic ring, and then that would bring up a loop, so you'll have 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and then pull through the 2 loops. And that's our single crochet. And then we're gonna do our third one. So again, insert a hook into the magic ring and then yarn under. So I'm going front, and then on top grab the working yarn from above and then pull it through the magic ring. That would bring up a loop. We'll have 2 loops on the hook, and then we yarn over and then pull it through 2 loops on our hook. And that's our third one, and we're halfway through making the first round. So again, insert our hook and then yarn under, bring our hook in front and then grab it from above, and then pull it through the magic ring to bring up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. We yarn over and then pull it through both loops on our hook. For our 5th one, it's the same thing. We go into the magic ring, yarn under, pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. Now yarn over and then pull it through the 2 loops on our hook like this. And now we're up to our last one. We're gonna insert our hook into the magic ring and then yarn under. So grab the working yarn from above, then pull it through the magic ring. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. Now we yarn over and then pull it through both loops, so like this. And then now to close up the magic ring, we're going to pull this tail right here. So after you pulled it, you'll see the gap in the middle has already closed up. And now we're going to join to our first stitch. So we're just going to insert our hook into this exact stitch. So we're gonna unlock the stitch marker. You see that there's this hole right here. We're gonna insert it. We're gonna do a single crochet in that stitch. So we're gonna yarn under and then grab the working yarn, and then we're gonna pull it through the first stitch. And I know it's a little bit tight, so just twist your yarn as you're pulling. I find that really helps. Now we have 2 loops on our hook, and we're just gonna finish it off as a single crochet because this is gonna be our first single crochet in the second round. So yarn over and then pull it through the first 2 loops like this. And this is our first single crochet in the second round, and we're gonna mark this first stitch. And I'm just gonna place my stitch marker into the first stitch, and I'm just gonna go through the V on the top of our stitch. And then for round 2, which is this round, we're gonna do a increase because we're placing 2 single crochet into the exact same stitch in every stitch. And so as you can see here, this was where we placed our first stitch. We're gonna insert our hook into the exact same stitch. And then again, we're going through a V, going through 2 loops. And then we're gonna place a single crochet to finish our first increase. So yarn under and then pull it through and then bring up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. We just yarn over and then pull through both of the 2 loops. And this is our first increase. We have made 2 single crochet into 1 stitch. And we're gonna place an increase into every stitch of the round. So for the next stitch, it's the next V here. To look for the V, we just look at the top of our stitches. So as you can see, there's a V here, so we just insert our hook into that. And after that, we're gonna place 2 single crochet into that stitch. So we yarn under, then we pull it through. Again, we kind of twist our hook, and then now we have 2 loops in our hook. We yarn over. Single crochet. So at this point you should be pretty familiar with how to do the single crochet. And then go into the exact same stitch and then place another single crochet. And then we have 2 stitches left until we reach the stitch marker, and so I'm just going to place the last 2 increases in the following stitches. And I've finished my round 2 and I've reached my stitch marker here. I just find that there's a little gap in my magic ring, so I'm going to pull my tail to tighten the ring. And then now I'm going to start round 3. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker. And as you can see, there's a hole here, so we're just gonna place our hook into that and then place a single crochet. For round 3, we're doing 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and then 1 single crochet followed by an increase. We're gonna use this sequence and finish off the rest of the round. So first, we've already finished 1 single crochet, and then we're gonna do a increase in the following stitch. We're gonna insert it into the next V, and then we're gonna place an increase. So yarn under, and then pull it through, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to place another single crochet. So go back into the same stitch and then place another single crochet in the exact same stitch, and then we have 5 more to do. Basically repeat 1 single crochet followed by an increase. For the following stitch, it's going to be a single crochet. So we go to the next stitch and then we just do a normal single crochet, and then for the next stitch we're doing an increase. So insert a hook into the next stitch, and then we're going to place an increase. So place the first single crochet and then place the second single crochet into this exact same stitch. For the next stitch, we're just going to place 1 single crochet, and then for the next stitch we're going to place an increase. So this is my first single crochet, and I'm doing my second single crochet, and I'm just going to repeat this pattern, basically doing 1 single crochet in the next stitch and then doing an increase in the next stitch, and then repeat this until we reach the stitch marker. So I've just finished my round 3 and I've ended my round 3 with my increase. So for round 4 to round 9, it's just basically putting 1 single crochet in each stitch, so there's no increases or anything. Basically 1 stitch at a time, and then that would create the height for the ghost. And round 4 to round 9, it's basically the following 6 rounds. So now we're gonna remove our stitch marker. and then we're gonna place our first single crochet into a round 4. So insert our hook into where we put our stitch marker into just now, place a single crochet, place our stitch marker back into the stitch to mark the round. We're just placing 1 single crochet, the rest of the round it's also doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. It's very repetitive at this point. As you can see, there's no increases, 1 stitch in each stitch, so it's just gonna give height. Your piece is gonna be curved up. Remember to flip it so you're working from the outside of your piece, not the inside. So I have just finished my round 4 and reached my stitch marker, and then start my round 5, and we're gonna basically repeat this until we reach round 9. Insert it into the first stitch of round 4 and then place a single crochet to start round 5. And then I'm gonna mark my work here. Basically just gonna do the same thing, placing 1 single crochet into each stitch. And I'm just gonna repeat this until I reach round 9. So now I've reached my round 9, and to make sure, I'm just gonna count it. So round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's move on to round 10. For round 10, we're going to be making the scallops, which is the bottom of the ghost. We're going to be putting 3 single crochet in the next stitch, and then followed by a slip stitch, and then 3 single crochet in the next stitch, slip stitch in the next stitch, and then continue until we reach the end of the round. Put our first single crochet into the first stitch to start round 10. So after making my first one, I'm gonna put my stitch marker back into the first stitch. Then we're going to go into the exact same stitch, just like an increase, and place another single crochet, sorry. We have 2 single crochet in the very first stitch, and since we need 3, we're gonna do 1 more. So we go back into the same stitch, and then we're gonna place the 3rd single crochet. So that's our 3 single crochet in a stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch in the next one, which is the next V. So I'm just gonna insert my hook into the next stitch. And then to make a slip stitch, we basically yarn over, and then we pull it through the stitch. So now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're gonna use the loop that we just pulled up to pull through the loop on our right. So we're just going to pull it through the loop on our hook, and then we just tighten it, and that's our slip stitch. So for the next stitch, we're gonna put 3 single crochet into the next stitch. So insert our hook into the next stitch, and then place our first single crochet. I'm gonna go back into the same stitch here, and then place another single crochet. So this is my second one. And then I'm gonna go back into the same stitch again to do my 3rd one. So I finished my 3 single crochet. Now I'm gonna pull my stitch to make sure I don't miss a stitch. So here is the next stitch. I'm gonna insert my hook into that, and then I'm gonna do slip stitch again. So yarn over, and then pull it through the stitch. So I just pull it through like this. Then I'm gonna tighten it. Then again, for the next stitch, place 3 single crochet. So this is my first one, and then I'm going back into the same stitch, and then my 3rd one, I'm gonna do a slip stitch in the next stitch. So insert our hook into the stitch, and then yarn over, and then we're going to pull it through the stitch, and then we're going to use the loop that we just pulled up to pull through the loop on our right. So I finished the body of my ghost, and you should have something that looks like this, and you will end with a slip stitch for round 10. So now let's add the eyes. I'm gonna use 2 darning needles to mark where the eyes are. I just like my eyes to be right opposite of the stitch marker. The eyes are in between round 5 to round 6. So let's count. So 1, this round 1, and then round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6. So in between these 2. So I'm just gonna poke my darning needle into any stitch around here, and then the eyes are gonna be 5 stitches apart. So I'm gonna count 5 stitches to the right. So 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And so I'm just gonna poke my darning needle here, and as you can see, this is where the eyes are gonna be. And then since I've done a yarn under, which is a tighter stitch, so my stitches are so tight and it's gonna be hard for me to insert my eyes into my piece. So I'm just gonna use my darning needle, make a hole, and it's gonna be easier for me to poke the eyes in. I think this is like the downside of doing yarn under, and it will probably do. And then let's do the other eyes. So if you want to make it a magnet set, I'm gonna add a magnet here. I'm gonna stick it right here. So after making the eyes, I'm gonna make the blush, which is the pink area right underneath the eyes. I'm gonna grab a pink yarn, and then we don't need that much of it. We just need a little bit, this much. And then we're gonna thread it through our darning needle. So as you can see here, the blush is going into the stitch that's right underneath the eyes. So it's this stitch because it's right below the eyes. And then here on the other side as well, the stitch that's right below the eyes. We're gonna stick our needle into the ghost, and then we're gonna come up on the stitch. And then we're gonna pull it, but don't pull it completely through. Just leave a little bit of a tail at the end. And then we're gonna go across the stitch to the left. So here, we're gonna go inside, and then we just pull it through. But remember, don't pull it too tight or else it's gonna look weird. So just gently pull it, and don't pull it too tight. Now we have our left blush left, so go from the inside to the outside. So we're gonna work with the right stitch first. We're gonna come up on this stitch right underneath the eyes. So here, and then we pull it up, and again, don't pull it too tight. And then we're gonna go a stitch to the left, which is here. And then we just go into a stitch, and then we just pull it through. Remember not to pull it too tight, and then gently pull it. This tail is a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna cut it. And then, so if you're doing a magnet set, put glue on this side, and then place it right here. And just kind of press it to make it stick. So to make the hand for the ghost, we're first going to do a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, I'm holding the yarn with my right hand, and for my left hand, I'm pointing up 2 fingers. Then I'm going to use the inside of the finger to grab my yarn, and then I'm going to twist it clockwise like this. So I have a loop on the left and then a tail on the right. Then I'm going to pull this tail through the loop on my left hand. So I'm going to grab the tail on my right using my thumb, and then just pull it through, and then grab the working yarn as well, and then pull it through both sides. So you have a slip knot. So after that, I'm gonna pull the tail to adjust the size of the loop. So I want the loop to be smaller just so it could fit my hook size. We're now gonna chain 2. So to chain, we're going to yarn over, yarn over, and then we're gonna pull it through the loop on our hook. And then see this V right here? That is our chain 1. So we're gonna do chain 2, so we're gonna yarn over again to do our second chain. So yarn over, and then we're gonna pull it through the loop on our hook. So just pull it through like this. So after that, we're gonna do a single crochet into the second chain from hook. So as you can see, the V here that's closest to the hook is the first chain from hook, and the one on the left is the second chain from hook. So we're just going to insert our hook into the V, right in the middle of the V. And then we're going to do a single crochet. So yarn under, and then pull it through the chain, and then pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, and then pull it through the 2 loops on our hook. It's like this. So to fasten off, we're just going to yarn over, and then pull it through the loop on our hook, and then pull a really big loop around this much, and then we just cut it. Then we kind of just adjust it a little bit. So we're gonna place our hand 2 stitches away from the eyes. The eyes is here, so 1 stitch and then the second stitch, so here. And then we're gonna place our hand 2 rows higher than the scallop, so 1, 2, so exactly here. And then the hand itself is gonna go across 2 rows. This is where we're gonna sew our 2 tails into. I'm just gonna do the first one. Grab one of my tail of the hand, and then I'm going to insert my needle into here, and then I'm gonna come up in a random stitch like this, and I just... After that, I'm gonna place my needle into the stitch below, so here, and then I also wanted to blend into the stitch. I'm also going into the stitch diagonally to the right, and just come up in a random stitch across the piece. And I'm just gonna cut the yarn here, and I'm gonna do the same for my other hand. So thread the yarn into the darning needle, insert your needle into the hole, and then go through your piece into a random stitch, basically pull the yarn. And then also I'm going into a stitch below and also diagonally, and then insert your hook, then go across your piece, and then cut the yarn. So now we're gonna repeat this for the other hand. So first we're gonna do 2 stitches away from the eyes, 1 stitch, and like a second stitch, which is here. We're gonna count 2 rows higher than the scallops, so 1 row up and then second, so it's gonna be here. So this is where the 2 tails are gonna be sewed onto. So first we're going to grab one of the darning needle, then thread it through the darning needle, and then after that we're gonna poke it through the hole here, and then go to a random stitch, and then stitch below as well. So this is where the yarn is coming from, so I'm just going to a diagonal stitch, then go through your piece, and then same thing for the other tail. So go into the hole, and then go into a random stitch. I'm gonna go below, so here, and then so that's basically good to go, but I just like to secure the both hands here. So I'm just gonna apply glue on the base of the hand for the other hand as well, like that, and then just stick it. And then ta-da, here's our little ghost. So now we're going to be making the hat, and I'll be using purple yarn. And if you want your hat body to be black, then you'll use a black yarn instead. So first we're going to be making a magic ring. So we're gonna hold our yarn on our right hand, and for our left hand we're pointing up 2 fingers. And then we're gonna wrap the yarn around our 2 fingers twice. So I'll go across on top of my 2 fingers, and then I'm going under, and then on top again. And then you'll have a parallel line on the top, and then for the bottom, we're gonna bring the end of the yarn to the palm of our hand and then hold it with our left thumb. And so you'll have a cross at the bottom here, and then a parallel line on the top. So now we're going to insert our hook under the first loop, and then we're gonna grab the second loop, and then we're gonna pull it through the first loop, and then we're gonna twist it clockwise, and then we're gonna grab the working yarn. So we're gonna go yarn over like this, and then we pull it through the loop on our hook like this, and then we're going to tighten it. And then I'm gonna pull the tail to make the magic ring smaller. And now let's make round 1. So to make round 1, we're going to put 6 single crochet into the magic ring. So first we're gonna hold our magic ring with our left middle finger and thumb, and we're gonna insert our hook into the magic ring, and then place a single crochet. So yarn under, and then pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're gonna place our stitch marker into the very first stitch, just like how we did for the ghost. And then now insert our hook into the magic ring again, and then place another single crochet. And then we're gonna repeat this until we have 6 single crochet. So insert our hook into the magic ring, yarn under, and then pull up a loop, and we have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then insert our hook, place a single crochet, then again, and then now we have 6 single crochet, and to close up the magic ring, we're gonna pull this tail, and then the magic ring will close up. And then we're gonna join to the first stitch. So we're going to remove the stitch marker and then place a single crochet into the very first stitch of round 1, like this, and then place a single crochet. And the stitch may be a little bit tight, so just really be patient. We're gonna place our stitch marker into the very first stitch. So for round 2, we're just gonna put 1 single crochet into each stitch, so there's no increases. So as you can see, it's a little bit far away, the following stitch. So I found a little trick is that you can pull the loop on your hook a little bit bigger first, and then insert your hook into the next stitch, which is the next V. So it's gonna be here. So we just insert it, and then after inserting your hook, we just pull the loop on our hook tighter, so our stitches will remain the same. So yarn under, and then place our second single crochet in our second stitch. And then for a third one, again, I'm pulling my loop a little bit bigger, so it's easier for me to insert my hook into the next stitch because it's a little bit far away. And then after inserting my hook, I'll just pull the working yarn, so the loop on my hook would be a little bit smaller to fit my hook size. And then place a single crochet. And then again. up to my last stitch. And then after that, you'll see that your piece is a little bit curved up. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna flip it. We're gonna flip it inside out so it won't be curving up, and we'll be working from the outside of our piece instead of working from the inside of our piece. Like this. And then now we're gonna start to do round 3. So we're gonna remove our stitch marker. So we're gonna place our first single crochet into where the stitch marker was, and then we just we're gonna place our stitch marker back into the stitch. And then for round 3, we're doing 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and then 1 single crochet followed by an increase until the end of the round. So we've done the first single crochet and then it's followed by an increase. So again, I'll just pull the loop on my hook a little bit bigger and then insert my stitch, and then pull it back, and then place my first single crochet into the second stitch. And this stitch is supposed to be an increase, so this is just my first single crochet. So I'm just going back into the same stitch right now, and then place another single crochet. So that would be an increase. And then for my third stitch, the next stitch here, I'm just putting 1 single crochet, like this. And then for my fourth one, since after a single crochet is followed by an increase, so I'll be placing an increase for the next stitch here. So this is my first single crochet. I'm going back into the same stitch, place another single crochet, so there will be an increase here, and then I'm going into the next stitch to place a single crochet, and then lastly it's followed by an increase. So round 3 will be ending it with an increase. So this is my first single crochet, and then my second single crochet. And then I just need to flip it out. And then now for round 4 is just single crochet all around. So we'll just be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch. So we place our first single crochet, and then we place our stitch marker into the first stitch. And then for the second stitch, it's just 1 single crochet. So at every stitch that we're doing, we're just placing 1 single crochet. So for our third one, it's 1 single crochet again. And then we just do single crochet all across the have kind of like a cone shape. And then for round 5, we're just gonna place increases in every single stitch to make the brim of the hat. So first remove the stitch marker. So we insert a hook into the next stitch and then place the stitch marker. And then we're doing an increase. So we're basically going back into the same stitch, do a second single crochet, and then for our next stitch it's the same as well. Go into the next stitch and then place 2 single crochet into the exact same stitch, go back into the stitch and then place my second one. So basically for each stitch in this round, we're placing 2 single crochet in each stitch. So I've placed my first single crochet in my 3rd stitch. So go back into the same stitch and then place another single crochet like this. So I'm placing my last increase here. And then after that, we're going to remove our stitch marker. And then we're just going to do a slip stitch. So we go into the very first stitch of the round, and then we're going to do a slip stitch, so yarn over, and then pull through the stitch. And then with the loop that we pulled through, we're going to pull it through the loop on our hook. Like this. And then we just pull it tight, so it's tightened so it has a little knot here. Make a really big loop, then cut the yarn. So for these 2 tails, I just like to cut them a little bit shorter. And it doesn't really matter because we're going to stick the tails into the hat later as well. So after that, you'll have a little hat that looks like this. And then I'm gonna grab my black yarn, glue my black yarn. So I'm gonna cut this much. So I'm gonna thread the black yarn through my darning needle. So I'm facing where we ended our piece. So I'm sticking my needle into this row, basically the second last row, and I just pull it through here and then leave a little bit of tail, and then I'll just wrap the yarn across the hat, and then I'm gonna hold it with my middle finger here, and I'm gonna go back to this stitch, stick my hook back into it, and then pull it. And remember to not pull it too tight. And then I'm gonna cut the excess part. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the glue, place the glue here so it would stick. So now let's stick it onto our ghost. So as you can see here, there's tail, so we just kind of stuff it into the hat. And then we're gonna apply glue to the brim of the hat. Where we ended our piece, we're gonna place it in the back of the ghost so it's not facing the front. I just like to place it a little bit to the right of the ghost. And honestly, you can just place it wherever you want. So ta-da, here is our little ghost. You can make it a keychain, or you can make it just a little charm like this. That would be super cute. So that's it for today's tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends so you guys have a matching pair of ghosts for Halloween. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!